There's a lot of news about airline safety these days. I mean, after the two Boeing 737 MAX crashes within a few months, and until we find a way to calm travelers' and crews' nerves, flying needs guts, right? So I kind of understand why flight attendants and pilots demand higher pay and benefits. But if my flight is on the canceled list, I don't think I will be as understanding. But watching the negotiations on YouTube is like watching a soap opera, because I often form my own opinion on every issue. Watching them on the negotiation table made me feel like part of the flight. But a familiar face popped up during the negotiations which prompted me to do some additional research, which changed my views on the recent flight attendant strike in Taiwan. Let me make myself a bit more clear so you can understand. First, I love to watch the news. Second, I often watch news but form my own opinion instead of being led by the news anchor. 3. I started paying attention when I saw the story of a beautiful flight attendant harassed by a rude passenger when he asked her to wipe his ass. Sounded like a white man seeking an Asian slave in the old days. For people who missed the news, let me fill you in. Earlier in 2019, an overweight American passenger boarded an Evergreen flight. He asked to move to an empty row so it would be more comfortable for him and the other passengers. Then, halfway, he asked to use the restroom in business class. He said he broke his arm and asked the flight attendant to give him a hand when he was done. The flight attendant agreed. Then, when he was done, the flight attendant found that he expected her to give him a hand to wipe him clean. The poor girl felt insulted and refused. But the senior flight attendant completed the job. When the young attendant landed, she put the incident on her Facebook, which was reposted by many media outlets. In her post, she said the passenger asked her to give him a hand after he was done using the business class toilet, as he needed help after breaking his right arm. She agreed but was surprised to find him still having his pants down when she opened the door. She said the passenger got angry and said she agreed to help, but she never said that. I assume the passenger said, "Give me a hand to help me clean," while she may have considered "give me a hand" meaning help pull him up. But that does not make sense. As how can a 100-pound girl pull a 450-pound man up? Plus, if she was supposed to pull him up, how can she be surprised to see his pants still down? Who can pull their pants on while they are stuck on the toilet? But even though she refused to do the dirty work, she put in a claim that she had suffered extreme trauma, and she was granted 3 months recovery time by her company. The airline was urged to refuse future service to the passenger. A letter was sent but returned because the passenger died 2 months after the incident. So let's take another look at what happened. I searched and found a picture of the so-called troublemaker. He is an older man in a wheelchair, overweight, but looked more like 300 pounds than 450. I don't know much about what happened, but based on the facts, the airline should not have called a dying man in a wheelchair a harassing pervert. He obviously needed help and did not deserve to be judged and thusly called such names. But none of the many media outlets reporting the story check the inconsistency of the flight attendant's story. It is a good story with a beauty and a villain. The flight attendant was treated like a heroine, a brave victim who stood up against the aggressor. Wow. What a story. I guess it must feel good to play the victim. So she became a leader of the strike against the airline, even though they have more pay and benefits than some other airlines. They demand more pay, which actually makes them look greedy, because the average salary is US $4,000 a month, compared with $1,000 average salary for most. The flight attendants also complained about their work conditions. Look, her boss did not demand her to take care of the customer when she refused to do the dirty work. Her boss did it. Her company did not blame her and granted her 3 months leave with pay. And she said she was severely traumatized because the passenger asked for her to wipe after him. And she thought her job was terrible. So she led a big strike which cost her company US $110 million in 18 days of strikes. So why did I even bring this up? I want to show you how easy it is to twist a story and make it interesting, but far from the truth. Plus, many people only hear what they want to hear. A beautiful girl bullied is a good story. So they went for it. Many years ago, before the Second Gulf War, I saw a TV anchor predict how the Iraqi people would greet our soldiers with flowers. I thought that sounded crazy because right before they said that, they were talking about 250,000 Iraqi soldiers dying in combat and 2 million civilians that died as a result of the oil, food, and medicine embargoes. Iraq has 20 million people at that time, which means about 1 in every family died during the war. I don't see how they would welcome U.S. soldiers with flowers. But I was the lone wolf. We went in and there were no flowers. Finding truth is hard, but we must still try. Please let your heart lead you. Because of the positive attention the flight attendant got after accusing the dying customer of harassing her, she felt justified in leading a strike against the airline. And worst of all, she posted messages encouraging bullying coworkers who did not participate the strikes and suggested poisoning the pilots. We now live in a different world today. A divided world when every news are fake news to some of us. This is Ken Peters. Thank you for watching.